Okay, guys and gals, about 10 seconds of the obligatory disclaimer. If you want to read the whole thing, just pause the video. Okay, welcome members. This is a members only video. Let's talk about the S&P 500. Today is Sunday. We're just a few hours before the futures market's going to open up in about 3 hours, July 10th, 2022. First thing I want to say is we've had a massive solar flare that just happened, I think yesterday or the day before. So there's going to be probably some, radio interruptions and whatnot. Satellites having problems, cable TV perhaps, cell phones, all that good stuff. Okay, we'll just see. They don't expect it to be huge, but the reason I mention that is because the certainty rate, in part, measures some solar activity. Plus, it looks at some other activity that's external to our solar system. But in any case, we'll dive into that. It's been very active. Here on this certainty rate. We'll dive into that in this video. So we're looking at here the S&P 500 futures September 2022 contracts. Okay. This cycle that I have right here ends on July 18th. Now, for those that don't know Slim, you can go check out his YouTube channel. I'm not associated with him in any way. We don't, whatever. We exchange some conversations once in a while on his YouTube channel. That's about it. But he's got 3 11-day cycles. So he's got basically a large 33-day cycle. And I commented on one of his videos and said, I wasn't thoroughly convinced that it's, a 33-day cycle made up of 3 smaller 11-day cycles. Because it seemed a bit off to me, the 11-day cycles. They're not, when you get when you get cycles that are that small, like you start getting below 14 days, 15 days, you start getting below that, things start getting a little shaky. And I'm not saying I haven't seen it before, but you start kind of seeing phantoms, right? Because the cycles get to be so small that everything looks like a cycle low. So I'm not really totally sold that 11-day cycles is accurate. So I have a 20-day cycle going on right here. That's what this is. Okay, and we'll just see how this plays out. But right now that's for July 18th. That's based on, just looking at some things here. This came down into here. This one was pretty close, either right there or right there. So, we're in the ballpark. This one kind of came down right here. Not exactly on, but so this cycle over here is pretty much bang on. This one's bang on. That one's off by a few days, but it's not horrible. So that's kind of how I chose this. You got 1, 2, 3. Not going to count that one. This one's good as 4, and this one's good as 5. So, 1, 2, 3. Not going to count that one. 4, 5, 4 out of 6. So not great, but still decent. Okay, 2/3, right? So 67%, let's call it, that these cycles are hitting 67% of the time. That's just okay. I got a feeling these cycles are going to change. But for now, that's what it is. Okay. So anyway, just be aware of that. That's July 18th, subject to change. Okay. That right there. Now this looks pretty strong. Obviously, this looks strong. This looks strong. Okay. So everything's pointing up. We've got some divergence warnings here that kind of crept in. Okay. I'm just not sure if those are false warnings, because that'll happen sometimes. Like over here, you'll notice one happened right there. These two happened right here. It went down, it went up, it went over, it came down. But these were legit. On the backside of a curve like that, on the downside of a curve, you start seeing divergence warnings like that. Those are good. See how these are early? They're over here. They're telling something's going to come, but they're not really reliable as much as these as you get to the peak and start getting to the backside of the curve. Those divergence warnings really are very, very good. Okay. When you see divergence warnings, I talk about this all the time, but when you see divergence warnings both on the Big Daddy and the SMI, that's a good sign. So we haven't seen anything over here. So I'm kind of taking these right now with a grain of salt, but they did show up. Okay. So everything here says we're going up. Just everything. Okay. But this guys to me is weak. This is just little. This just, look at this. These are just weak days. Look at these little candlesticks. They're not strong. Right? You got that one there is weak. These small range, small bodies, bare minimum. The range is kind of smallish. Okay, so this is not what I would call, this right here is not what I call a strong occurrence. Yes, it's bullish, but it's not strong. It's not like that. That's got some meat to it. It's not like that. Even this one was stronger, right? Big, fat, bodied candlesticks, right? They're finishing strong every day. These, no. You got 1, 2, 3 candlesticks in there that finished weak. You see them? Let's zoom in a little bit here. See that? Look at this. Weak, weak, weak. So 3 out of these 5 candlesticks were, not strong candlesticks. Little tiny bodies struggling to make their way up. Okay? So that doesn't look to me like a strong bullish occurrence. Just isn't. And it didn't get above this candlestick, which is what I was looking at. Now it could still get above that. That's 39.50 right there. Okay. Let's try that again. That's 39.50 right there. Okay. 39.50. And this one, highs I got was 39.22. Okay, so we didn't even break above this candlestick back here, which would be kind of something you want to be looking for. Now, could it do it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Sure, it could still go up. It could come up into here, hit this. Okay, whatever is going to happen here, whether it's got more meat on the bone and then it's going to come down, I don't know. Maybe it just starts down right away. But you notice how it's been tracking right along. Look at this, guys. I put this line in here way back over here. On June 17th, I just wrote this line in here. I just kind of put it in there and said, that's my best guess. Look at this thing. Look at this, tracking right along that line. It's just typical behavior, right? That's why I was able to draw that line, because it's typical behavior. Look at this. So, well, how is that possible? Because look at this. You have to have a feel for the rhythm, and that life is very cyclical, guys. The whole thing is cyclical. Life moves in rhythms and cycles. That's what this is down here. We're basically measuring the rhythm of life on a very grand scale. This is reflecting energy flow, cyclical energy flow throughout the entire universe, if you really want to get down to it. Okay, but look at this. Bing, bong, bing. This one didn't make it up there. Brown, brown. Right? Ding, bang. Bing, bang, bing, bang, bing, bang. Bing, bang, bing, bang. Oh my gosh. Right? Right. Right. Okay, this one. You can just see this megaphone developing. Look at this megaphone developing, guys. Look at this thing. Okay, and my guess is it's about to get larger. It's about to get larger. Megaphone. Okay, that's what I think is going to happen. We'll see. That's a little bit longer view, yeah. All right, so everything's pointing up, but the energy pouring into our, or at least, yeah, both the energy pouring into our solar system as well as the activity that's happening with the sun and Jupiter's influence on the sun and yada yada. I won't dive into depth of that because that's a very involved subject matter, and I would say that this is all saying one thing and this is saying another thing, would be my best guess. Now I haven't even updated this yet, but I'm gonna do it here in a moment. I'll show you. Okay. With as much activity we're about to see on this thing, you're gonna see a spike here. I think a couple spikes or something. Does that mean this thing's gonna take off? Yeah, it could Because remember, this energy pouring in and occurring within our solar system, that's what this really is, guys. This is, you call it solar system energy. Call it what you want. Okay, this just charting the energy that's pouring into the earth that comes via external sources. Okay, and it isn't just the sun. The sun's part of it, but it's not entirely just the sun. Okay, the measurements outside the solar system, you know, the sun, you know, whatever, Mercury, and forgive me if I don't remember all the planets, Venus, Earth, whatever, all the other ones, Mars is out there, and then you get into the bigger ones. I don't remember the exact order. I don't really care. Jupiter, Neptune, or Uranus. Yeah, that's a good word. And Pluto. Oh my gosh, it's not a planet. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So the sun's doing its thing, and Jupiter has an influence. And I won't dive into all this, but you know, the solar system's got its thing going on, right? Since we're just talking about this now, okay? And the sun oscillates, right? It kind of spirals around. If this is the center of the sun, it doesn't just go like this all the time. You know, the sun rotates, right? I don't remember how X amount of days it rotates. Okay, but the center of the sun is moving like on a spiral. It's moving. Okay, and it kind of intersects itself and spirals and comes around. It's not a closed loop system. It's constantly moving around the barycenter of the solar system. If this was the solar system, I know it's not in the center on this picture, but it doesn't really matter, just assuming this is the center. The sun kind of wobbles around that center, right? It's moving around. It doesn't just stay directly in the middle of the solar system. It wanders around a little bit, crosses over its own path, goes out there a little bit, comes back. Okay, and this whole solar system is moving along a huge arc called the Milky Way on one of the outer arms, and we're just going around and around. Millions of years come by. Okay. Well, if this, you know, if this is our solar system, again, I'm just going to draw a big circle here. There's energy comes into the solar system, okay? And this is the sun. Okay. Plasma flows into the solar system and carries positive ions into the solar system, okay? It's just, you know, the scientists think they're brilliant, but they think the sun is all self-contained and it just bubbles out energy. Wrong. It doesn't work like that. The sun is part of a very large, massive electromagnetic circuit. That's the best way to put it. It's part of a massive electromagnetic circuit that spans millions of light years. Just keeps on going. Okay, it isn't just the sun doing its own thing, bubbling out. That's just total nonsense. It's connected to the rest of the entire universe via plasma, and these positive ions are flowing down into the sun, and then here's the Earth, let's say over here. Guess what? I'm getting dinged by friends and family. That plasma flows from the sun to the Earth. Why do you think we get what they call the northern and southern lights? Okay, that plasma flows to the Earth, positive ions hit the Earth, okay? So for anybody that understands electric currents and electromagnetism, this is going to all sound very familiar, okay? That's what's really happening. Now, the consequences of that for us on the Earth is that humans are influenced by the electromagnetic field. Yes, it flows down to the Earth. Okay? Our nervous system is electrical. It may be partially chemical based, but it's still electrical. Okay, we are significantly influenced by that positive ion charge that's coming into the sun, and the sun into the Earth, into the other planets like Jupiter as well has a big influence on the sun, okay? So I'm kind of giving you the really down and dirty 101, what's happening on a grand scale. I'm not claiming to have it all figured out. I'm not claiming to have it all 100% accurate, okay? But this is relatively what NASA and all of them would call fringe. We don't put any credence to that kind of, because they don't want to give up the government money. right? That pours into their pockets. So they stick with what's most popular because that's how they get their money. They don't want to talk about the other things that are probably what's really happening. Okay. But there's a lot of evidence now that suggests that what I'm talking about is true. All right. So maybe one of these days I'll share a really good book that I've been reading from one of the few authors that talks about this whole dynamic. Okay. Now, why do I talk about this? Well, because this has an influence on the marketplace. All of this energy and the way it flows across superclusters. If you don't know what superclusters are, you can go study it on your own. Go study it. Okay? Go study superclusters. And go study what's happening. And I'll give you all a little hint. Dark matter, dark energy? What a bunch of hogwash. It's total hogwash. I mean, it's just crap that people make up, right? They give their best. It's dark energy, dark matter, blah, blah, blah. It's what? No. Okay? For those that you want to know my opinion, because I'm giving my opinion here, complete hogwash. That's what they call something when they gave it this name, dark energy, dark matter, because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They didn't know what to call it. Okay? And many scientists, if you want to call them scientists, have already discovered this plasma flow, and they're scratching their heads going, we don't understand what's going on, we don't understand what's going on. Well, because it's all based on faulty premises. They don't want to accept the fact that we have electromagnetic currents flowing to and from the Earth to the Sun, from the Sun going out to other planets, and there's an exchange between the planets and the Sun, and the Sun has an exchange with other stars. They reach across distances that we can't even wrap our mind around. And it makes perfect sense because this is how life is. If you look at the atom. And I know that the subatomic is not the same as, let's say Newtonian physics. Okay? But you'd be surprised, and I think as we move forward, okay, there's going to be a big surprise that quantum physics and the subatomic is far closer to what we're viewing across many light years and superclusters and so on. Is far more related than they realize. All right, so anyway, I'm a little bit off track for an S&P 500 video, but I wanted to share all this because you need to understand that when we look at cycle analysis right here, this dates back to a time where there was some really smart guy that understood that he saw something cyclical going on with the stock market, right? And also there were people that observed that wars had an influence on the stock market, going all the way back to the Dow Jones Transportation, which is the oldest index in the world, the DJT. Okay, you're all getting some really in depth on this one. This video right here is something you're going to want to put in your archives and come back and listen to it and watch it many times, because I guarantee if you pay attention to what I'm saying in this video, you're going to have a much better understanding of what's going on around you, and you're going to be in awe of what's going on. And life is not just about making money. The money's nice and all, but it's not just about money, guys and gals. Okay. But anyway, they studied that they saw during wartime, and it obviously affected prices in the marketplace. And there were other studies going on approximately within the few same decades of this person who discovered cycle analysis, right? That solar activity was impacting crops and grains, and and crops and grains affect livestock, and livestock affects humans, and the oceans are being affected, and so on and so forth, right? So now here we are, we're in 2022. And there are small groups of people that continue to push the edge and endeavor to study these things, right? And now there's significant evidence that's going to be really hard to hold back, right? The powers that want to hold it back, they're not going to be able to hold it back, no matter how much tax money they want to extract out of the taxpayers here in America to fund their NASA projects. And I got nothing against NASA. They do some amazing things. Okay, that's great. They do some amazing things. A lot of things that if they didn't do, we wouldn't have been able to have these kind of conversations we're having right now. But there's going to be some big changes coming up probably in the next 5, 10 years, whatever, because their grip on the way finances flow, they don't want to let that go. But I think they're going to be forced to do it, or they're going to have to acknowledge what's happening on a grand scale. And I won't dive into the whole as a Christian how this impacts my beliefs as a Christian. Okay. But it does, and it brings a lot of things to light about what I read in the Bible and what I read, and my beliefs, okay, and my faith. So anyway, I think right now, just coming from way out there, literally way out there, back to the S&P 500 now, what do I think? Well, guys and gals, my best estimation is, because remember, all this energy pouring in here, we don't really know. It doesn't really tell us direction, right? At the moment, we don't have a firm grasp on when we get these energy spikes. Okay, how does it tell? How does it? How do we extrapolate that information to determine which way the market's going to go? That's a study that's still in progress, right? It's not so easy to figure that out. So let me. I got the app up here. Let me create the TOS script locally here. So that's creating it locally on my hard drive. And when I click this button here, it exports it to Dropbox, and then all you members can pick it up. Normally I don't do this because this data is coming in throughout the day, right? It doesn't just happen once. It happens several times throughout the day. Okay, and then I export it late at night, or later on at night, so you all can get it. Okay, but I can click it right now. That's fine. Okay, and some people may have automated things in place already to pick up this data. That's fine. So it just keeps dropping the same file over and over and over. Okay, so you can always just go pick up that file. Or anyway, you can see right here, look at this, 19.8, right? And today, and 2 days ago, we have what's called bidirectional. And I won't dive into what that is. That's just how I have this set up. Okay, but you'll notice right there it's bidirectional. On July 9th, we had this. July 8th, we had 2 hits, bidirectional. Okay, and then July 10th today, we had it again. Anytime you see bidirectional, that means things are happening. Okay, so I'm going to import this, and it's going to probably, I think it's going to import this one if I remember right. So let's do it. Let's import this. That's the wrong thing. I need to go to studies, click on that, click on this. Okay, let me go go over to Dropbox, and that's the one I want. It's going to say, do I want to overwrite the existing one? Yeah, I do. And there it is. You see the spike down there? There's the spike right here. It's as simple as that. If you're on the TOS platform and you're on the there's another platform, TradingView. Yeah, TradingView. So Robin did one of the members, Robin, did the TradingView script. So if you're on TradingView, you can use that. So let's see, what is this number today? 19. Now I got a feeling that's not yeah, so it's really 19.8, okay? The reason why that is because the stock market doesn't trade every day. Okay, so this is showing Friday's data, 19. Okay. So this chart's not going to show this 19.8, showing this one. Okay, because we're getting energies pouring into our solar system and exchanging with inside our solar system all the time, all day, every day, 24 hours a day. Okay, it's just we have instrumentation that sits out there. Some of it's satellites, some of it's earthbound, whatever, that reads all this data. Okay, and then I'm pulling some of that data and I'm making use of the data. So anyway, we don't have a July 10th on here because the next one's going to be July 11th, which is tomorrow. So even though the tonight's futures are going to come in, like right here, we're going to get a candlestick right next to this one, but it's going to be for July 11th. So that's why you won't see this on there. Okay, but lucky for all of you, I can tell you in the video, this is strong. Boom and boom, both on July 10th. We get some, this one and this one. 19.8 and 13.4 on the same day, bidirectionally. Okay. So that's pretty strong. That's like a very significant event is going to occur, is the way I see that. Now everything is pointing up. Everything is still doing this. Still doing this. And in this case, I think those numbers we're seeing, the 19.8, it's predictive, right? It's predicting something's going to come because it hasn't really happened yet. This isn't it. This already happened. So what is going to happen? Is it going to blast off above this, or is it going to take the big deep dive down into that? And my guess is, so there's work to be done on how do we take this information, we know it's coming, and how do we accurately predict what the market's going to do? That's the hard part, because that's not in this, right? This doesn't tell us direction. I've talked about this before. It just says something's coming or it is already happening. So we don't really, that's work to be done. That part, the translation, if you will, from this to this, to the markets it's not one-to-one. It's not so easy to make those determinations, right? But based on what I'm seeing here is that this was weak. That just looks like, it just doesn't look strong to me. This right here, this MACD reminds me of this. That kind of stuff. When I saw this developing, I really looked back over here and I saw this MACD right here. And even some of the Big Daddy behavior. Again, patterns, guys. I'm always looking at patterns. Patterns and cycles. These looked familiar to me. It came up, it dipped, it came up again, came up, it dipped, it came up again. I see that the MACD has this kind of behavior. It looks kind of similar to this one, though they're not exactly identical. But I think what's going to happen here, my best guess is, we're going to get that little notch. We're going to get that. That's what this is going to turn into. Okay, I think we're going down. That's my opinion. We're going to go down. We're going to go down into this cycle low. I don't know exactly when, today, tomorrow, whatever. I'm not saying it's going to happen immediately because that part's a little bit up in the air. But based on this data right here, I think this is what amazes me. This data has been accurate. It's just been accurate. And that number right there was just crazy. It's been accurate. This right here. Just matching up with that, telling you something's happening. Bam. It's up to us to determine what is that something. I look at this over here. This is a really good an example. Look at this right here. Telling us something's going to happen. That it's coming. That's what that means. Energy's flowing into the solar system, throughout the solar system. Okay, between the sun and the planets, including Earth, and external forces. Okay, external exchange of plasma carrying electrical currents in and out of the solar system, within the solar system. That's what's going on. And it said way over here, look at these other indicators. They were still going up. But this says, oh, no, there's something coming. And then within a few days, like 4 or 5 trading days, got these big divergence warnings. And it tracked sideways for a week and dumped the big bomb. So, I'm inclined to think that this kind of indication here wasn't really just about these 3 days that were going up. It was more about this massive event. Right? Because look at this one flat. You see that? This said something's coming. This went quiet during the exact time we had this, and then the big bam. Okay? Just given that we've been in this kind of movement, we're in a bear market, and this just looks weak to me. We're kind of near the top of this channel. I think this guy's maybe hasn't run its course completely yet, but I think it's about to run out of steam if it hasn't already. Okay? All right, that's it. You got a chock full of information, more than y'all counted on. I haven't raised the rates, by the way, the subscription fee from $5.99 to $7.99. y'all still getting it on the cheap. Anyway, that's it for now, guys and gals. Hope you really enjoyed the video. I hope you all have a new appreciation for what's really going on in the grand scheme of life. Okay, and from a Christian's perspective, it really lines up very well with some of the things I read in the Bible. Okay. Yeah, amazing. I'll finish up with this, that light and electricity, there's a phrase that's been coined, and light and electricity are two sides of the same coin. Be aware of that. That the light you see coming from our sun is really synonymous with electricity. Okay, it's just that the so-called experts, they just can't wrap their mind around it. But that's what's really happening. I'm not talking about solar panels here. Okay, what you're seeing coming from the sun and what's happening and what's transpiring between the planets and the sun to other stars is electrical. And to be more specific, it's electromagnetic. Okay? If you can get a hold of that, if you understand that it's all connected, and that we are connected physically now, okay, the physical electrical part of us, okay, is connected to it as well. It flows all the way down to earth and it connects to all things. Wrapping my mind around all this sometimes is a bit daunting. The magnitude of it all is humbling. Okay. I'll finish with this. And this is Jesus said this, or it was spoken of Jesus, and I think it's in the book of John. And it's written, it says this: in him was life, and that life is the light of men. Of course, him is referring to Jesus. Y'all have a blessed day. Love one another. Forgive one another. Talk to you all real soon again next time.